If you own or manage a car dealership, you need to sell cars to new customers. You probably have numerous marketing vendors providing you ways to sell to your existing customers by marketing to your database. But when was the last time you spent money on a conquest program that generated quality leads, generated foot traffic, and real deals, burning gas when it was all said and done? What if I told you in the next few minutes I could show you one simple thing you could do to help you sell an extra 20 to 30 units this month to conquest vehicle shoppers, and the 3 fatal mistakes that will prevent you from ever being successful at automotive conquests? 20 deals have to be worth a few minutes of your time, right? Well, perfect. Let me show you how. Now, just before we dive in, let me introduce myself very briefly. I know I personally like to know whom I'm learning from before paying attention to any type of training. So my name is Sean Casey. I'm the co-founder of Turbo Marketing Solutions. Over the last 12 years, I had the privilege of helping hundreds of dealers of all size and makes across North America sell more cars each month. In the process, I had the chance to create over 1,800 automotive sales funnels, edited over 2,500 automotive videos, and had the pleasure of working with tons of forward-thinking dealers like Josh Tobin, the king of cars in Las Vegas, when he had his show on A&E. I'm also an automotive marketing aficionado. Every day I curate marketing strategies to over 4,000 automotive professionals on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm also the #1 Wix Pro designer. That's a publicly traded company worth $2.25 billion with over 100 million websites in 180 countries in the world. And I'm the humble host of the podcast, 30 Days to Sell Cars. As you can see, I live, breathe, eat, sleep automotive marketing 24/7, 365. When I say I'm going to show you the 3 automotive conquest fatal mistakes and the one thing that can help you succeed and add an extra 20 to 30 units to your sales next month, I speak from experience. Are you comfortable with me as your guide? Perfect. Let's begin. The first fatal mistake that is guaranteed to set your dealership up for failure in its conquest attempts is to treat conquest as an event instead of a process. Always keep in mind that conquest prospects don't know you, trust you, or love you yet. And statistics show that they will require between 9 to 15 different points of contact with your dealership's content before entertaining the idea of buying a vehicle from your store. If you're thinking about conquest as a 3 to 4 day sale or even a week-long event, you'll never be able to allow conquest prospects the time to find, engage, and digest the information from the 15 required touch points. It's just unrealistic. It's like asking a total stranger to marry you after a few dates. Now, you might think my analogy is a little far-fetched, but think about it. Some vehicle financing spans over 6, 7, and even 8 years. That's longer than many marriages today. Remember the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio? If you haven't seen the movie, you should rent it over the weekend. It's really good. In the movie, DiCaprio's character is hired to plant an idea in the mind of an individual. The goal was to plant the idea so deep in their subconscious mind that the target would actually believe that the idea was their own. Similarly, that's what a good conquest campaign should achieve, to deliver your 9 to 15 touch points so naturally in the life of the prospect that they feel that they're the ones who discovered your content, and they're the ones who have set to research your models and your dealership. But that takes a little time, at least a few weeks. It's not something that can happen over 3-4 days. And it's even truer if prospects have been researching a competing make for the last few months. And that's why conquest should not be an event, but an ongoing process. Can you see now why thinking about conquest as a 3 to 4 day sale event or a week-long event is somewhat ridiculous? Does thinking about automotive conquest as an ongoing process makes more sense with the information I just shared with you? Do you see how it could help you sell more vehicles to conquest vehicle shoppers? Excellent. Let's now dive then into the second mistake to avoid. The second fatal mistake that is guaranteed to set your dealership up for failure in its conquest attempt is to try to deliver your 9 to 15 points of contact through the same medium. Conquest prospects are not necessarily going to purchase one of your models because they've seen your ads on Facebook 15 to 20 times this month. And they're not going to run to your dealership for a test drive because you served them YouTube pre-roll videos every single day for the last few weeks. You might be able to generate leads from a conquest prospect after sending multiple direct mail pieces, but the process might be expensive. Or you might be able to move a prospect into action after half a dozen phone calls, but they might also opt to block your number or register for the do not call list to avoid your calls. The problem with using only one or two medium is that it exposes your inception. The unnatural delivery will make your communications efforts sound like advertising instead of the delivery of valuable content. And the prospect will get irritated by its repetitiveness instead of getting indoctrinated by multiple types of content that build up the emotional excitement and the rationale to support it. Let's see here a natural sequence of touch points delivered through multiple content style. You'll see what I mean. Seeing a few ads on Facebook that spark an interest. Watching a video that provides a bit more information. Then getting a ringless voicemail that can be listened to when convenient. Reading an interesting post on your Facebook newsfeed. Seeing retargeting ads while surfing the web for other subjects. Chatting with a bot to request more information. Receiving a mail piece that provides more insight on the opportunity. Seeing a video on Instagram. Getting a phone call to make sure the mail piece was received and answer any questions. Reading a post on LinkedIn on the advantages of selling your trade in the current seller's market. Requesting an online trade appraisal. Watching a lead nurturing video explaining more about the appraisal process. Getting a phone call to schedule the visual inspection of the trade at the dealership. Did you notice how the content from these 13 different touch points naturally flowed in the life of the prospect? And don't get fooled thinking these are individual random actions taken by the dealership to place the content in front of the potential prospect. All of these have been pre-programmed to be strategically released at specific times in the life of the prospect to shorten the shopping cycle and maximize the effect of the indoctrination sequence. Can you see now how trying to deliver your 9 to 15 points of contact through only one medium could feel very repetitive and irritating to the prospect? Can you see now how spreading your 9 to 15 pieces of content over multiple media could provide a more natural sequence of indoctrination and help you generate more leads from conquest prospects? Perfect. Let's dive into the third and final mistake. The third fatal mistake that is guaranteed to set your dealership up for failure in its conquest attempt is to stop once you've experienced some success. Albert Einstein is said to have called the power of compound interest the most powerful force in the universe. I remember reading when I was a kid that if I leveraged the power of compound interest and deposited $1 in my bank account every single day, I'd be a multimillionaire today. I was just too stupid to do it. Instead, I'm forced to work my socks off to generate a decent income. Now, the power of compounding can also be applied to your conquest efforts to help you generate unbelievable results, providing revenues multiple times over your investments. You already know from mistake number 1 that an interested prospect will require 9 to 15 touch points to be moved into action. Imagine if your diligent conquest efforts helped you invest touch points in your marketplace before prospects are even considering upgrading their vehicle. The power of compounding your conquest efforts will allow you to convert conquest prospects much faster because they will require less new touch points, which would dramatically lower your cost per lead and explode your sales over time. Now, I'm not suggesting to replace the direct response nature of your conquest efforts with a branding philosophy. Every conquest campaign should stand on its own 2 legs and provide a profitable ROI. But if it costs you, for example, $10,000 to reach 50,000 conquest vehicle shoppers and you get 300 leads, book 70 appointments, and sell 25 units with a $2,800 gross profit, you're netting $60,000 each campaign and leveraging the power of compounding with the other 49,975 people you've reached with the investment but haven't bought yet. You're now branding your dealership for free as a byproduct of your direct response efforts and accumulating touch points with prospects that will eventually move into the market as intenders, which will help you capture prospects in the earliest stage of the shopping cycle. Can you now see the power of compounding your conquest efforts? The problem I see in the industry is that most dealers apply the same mindset to conquest as they do to loyalty marketing when communicating with their existing customers. While backing off from your database and letting it breathe and heal a bit after a good push might help you avoid pissing off your customers, the minute you're no longer on the conquest prospects radar is the second you forfeit the potential sale. Also, on the digital side of things, advertising platforms like Facebook, AdWords, Messenger, and AdRoll will allow you to build a conquest list of interested prospects who have engaged with your content. Most likely, these prospects have interacted with your marketing because they are considering the purchase of a vehicle and are educating themselves about their options. Keep in mind that the customer journey spans over a few months, so you don't want to miss out on the harvest of the leads you've nurtured for weeks and let another dealer reap the rewards of your efforts because your dealership's backed out of its conquest communication efforts and is no longer visible and top of mind to the audience that you've built. Do you see now how ludicrous it would be to stop and take your foot off the gas pedal once you've experienced success with your conquest efforts? Can you see how staying top of mind with the conquest audience you're building in Facebook AdWords Messenger and in the real world can compound your conquest marketing efforts? Great. So let's quickly review the 3 fatal mistakes to avoid, and then I'll show you one simple thing you can do to sell an extra 20 to 30 deals this month to conquest vehicle shoppers. Mistake number 1. Do not treat automotive conquest marketing as an event. It's a process. Conquest vehicle shoppers who don't know your dealership will require 9 to 15 points of contact with your content before entertaining buying a vehicle from your store, and you can't rush the delivery or the consumption. People won't go from unaware to suspect to curious to prospect in 72 hours. Mistake number 2. Do not try to deliver the 9 to 15 points of contact through one single medium. Conquest prospect will need to interact with multiple forms of your content before being moved into answering your call for action. Instead of using one medium, combine digital ads, video, social media, direct mail, ringless voicemail, and a strategic phone call by a live person to provide an integrated marketing experience that will deliver your content in a sequence that will feel natural for the prospect. Mistake number 3, don't stop once you have success. Your conquest audience is not like the contacts in your database. They don't need a breeder and won't stop visiting your service department or jump ship and buy from another dealer because you're keeping your foot on the gas pedal with your communication efforts. It's the exact opposite. The minute you're no longer adding touch points to the conversation is the second you lose the opportunity to sell them a vehicle. Could you see how avoiding these 3 fatal conquest mistakes could help your dealership generate more leads and deals with conquest vehicle shoppers? Would you like to see the one simple thing you could do to avoid these 3 fatal mistakes while generating 20 to 30 deals this month from people outside of your database? Awesome. Let me show you how. Now, the program I'm about to show you is built on the premise that the easiest conquest target your dealership can go after to increase your sales is non-intenders, or people who are not yet in the market to buy a vehicle. While every one of your competitors is spending their hard-earned money on ads and marketing trying to convince the 7 to 9% of the population in market for a vehicle, we like to help your dealership focus its efforts on the other 91% of the population. And here's why. The car business is the most beautiful business in the world because everybody would change their vehicle today for something bigger, better, faster, more fuel efficient, with more cargo space, more technology, but they just don't know they can. What's keeping prospects thinking they can't change their vehicle is their misperception of one or more of these 5 friction points: price, payment, cash required, credit, and trade value. Non-intenders don't believe it's the best time to get the best price. They don't believe the payment will fit in their budget. They believe too much cash will be required to complete the transaction. They don't know if they will qualify for credit, and they don't know if they will get enough for their trade. But if you create content that changes non-intenders' beliefs regarding these 5 misperceptions, you will instantly move them into market as hot buyers, and your dealership will get first kick at the can. Now, as you know, most prospects, intenders or non-intenders, will most likely already have a model on their radar, one that they prefer or that they are more inclined or favorable to. If that model is not part of the vehicles you sell, there's very little marketing can do at this stage to influence the prospect's mind while he or she is thinking about the price, payment, cash required, or their ability to qualify for credit for the model they desire. But look at the 5th point of friction, the trade. That's your key to conquest success. The prospect's desire to get an exciting offer for the vehicle they're driving now opens the door wide open for you to engage in a conversation the prospect is willing to have. Why? Because the trade is the only one of the 5 friction points that doesn't involve the model they have on their mind. It's the neutral point of friction, and the one that doesn't put your dealership in conflict with what they want. Find a way to provide prospects with an easy way to get an exciting offer for their current vehicle, and you will be talking to more conquest prospects than your heart desires. Well, I hope you enjoyed the content and the tactic I just reviewed with you in this video. This tactic is part of the system I use here at Turbo Marketing to help dealers and automotive sales professionals sell more cars each month. But be careful not to fall in the trap of chasing single tactics as your means to grow your sales. Tactics are only tactics if they're not part of an overarching system supporting an overall strategy. Your goal should not be to chase the latest tactics, but to build for yourself a machine that will consistently and predictably help you turn total strangers into paying customers. Now, I'll be honest, putting together all the pieces of the ideal customer acquisition machine, measuring conversions at every step of the sales funnel, tweaking it, and optimizing it is not an easy task. That's why I decided to create a program where you now have the ability to work with my team and me to build your own customer acquisition machine, one that will predictably and consistently turn total strangers into paying customers and raving fans. Imagine having not only the blueprint for building your machine, but access to in-depth knowledge about every stages, access to the same technology I use, access to the same copywriters to write your scripts, access to the same video editors to produce your content, and access to the same toolbox of tactics to experiment within your system. Imagine having access to like-minded individuals from the car business who are also building and tweaking their own customer acquisition machine. Imagine being able to ask them questions and compare your metrics with theirs so you can see if and where there is room for improvements. No more guessing, no more trying to figure it out, but only black and white answers for every question you might have while putting your customer acquisition machine and tweaking it to perfection. If you would like to have a conversation with me to see if this program might be something you would like to explore, and if you would be a good fit for the program, I invite you to schedule a strategy call using the button underneath this video. During the call, I will review with you your current customer acquisition processes so we can find together areas of growth and opportunities for yourself and your dealership. For this reason, when you book your strategy call, make sure you have a few minutes to answer a couple of questions about you and your store. I want to get on this call with you prepared, having done my due diligence and ready to provide you with some insights that you'll be able to use immediately to grow your sales. Whether you're a good fit or not for the program, I want our time together to be of the utmost value for you. Now, to avoid wasting your time or mine, here's a fair warning. If you're lazy, uncommitted, and not absolutely serious about building your customer acquisition system and changing your life and your income forever, don't register for the strategy session. First, you'll hate the process because I hound and breathe down the neck of the people who are accepted in the program to make sure they get results fast. There is also a substantial investment of time and money required to build a proper customer acquisition system, and my commitment to the people in the program is that I will bring every resource I have at my disposal to get them from where they are now to where they need to be in the shortest amount of time. But that requires dedication on their part, the willingness to do the work and follow the recipes, to study the content, and to do the required action steps at every stage. For these reasons, if you're only floating the idea of a customer acquisition machine around in your mind, don't book the strategy call. We will both be wasting our time. But if you are serious about tackling your customer attraction needs once and for all, then go for it and book your call now, and let's see if you might be a good fit for the program. If you're not, I will let you know so you can pursue other options. I might even suggest several opportunities and scenarios you might want to consider as alternatives to the program. What's important is that I will have had the opportunity to bring you value and insights and help you reach your automotive sales goals in one way or another. We will also be forever a new connection in the car business and maybe even become friends. That's what's most important for me. If you enjoyed the presentation and want more content like this, I encourage you to follow me on Facebook under 30 Days to Sell Cars, to subscribe to the podcast by the same name, to check out our YouTube channel, and follow Turbo Marketing and me, Sean Casey, on Instagram and IGTV. On that note, I wish you a great day. I hope you crush your monthly goals, and like I love to say, let's sell some cars.